من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى ولا سيما سيدنا محمدا المصطفى صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأزواجه وأحبابه وأصحابه. We talked last week about qasd, or the station of qasd, and reforming or purifying the self or purifying the heart. And qasd we've talked about, obviously the niyyah, but not just the niyyah, with a plan and execution, starting the execution. Because you can't do anything really without a niyyah. You have to have that niyyah, and in order for the niyyah to be genuine, it cannot be just lip service. The niyyah has to start with the heart, and there has to be a plan and all these things, etc. And we've talked about that. Now after that qasd, which is a niyyah plus leaning and execution, we talk about the next station for the seeker of Allah Ta'ala, which is al-iradah. Al-iradah, or means the will. The will. طبعا Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala affirmed a will to you. In other words, you have a will. وما بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين. Your will not be executed unless or until Allah wills for it to be executed. طبعا the will, why do you need the will? Because you cannot do any proper traveling or journey to Allah Ta'ala just with the niyyah. The niyyah is not going to get you there. The qasd and the niyyah will set your direction. So now at least you're not chaotic. Yani people sometimes, when they want to, let's say, try to please Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala in what they do, there's no plan. It's chaos. And even their niyyah may be mixed. Yani their qasd, you know what, I will go, I'll see some friends I like. I'm not saying you should not go to see some friends you like. Lakin with matters that have to do with Allah Ta'ala, Allah only accepts that which is pure for Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's a practice you have to do. Now, but with this niyyah, okay, so you have a direction. I want to please Allah Rabbul Alameen, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Lakin that direction is not enough. One thing, it's like having, how do I say, before leaving your home, you're putting on a GPS an address. Great, you got the address, but now you have to do what? You have to what? Have a will of going, not just an intention or a qasd or a azm. So the ulama of suluk, they use these three things synonymously with slight differences between them. An-niyyah and the qasd and the azm. And that's why Allah says, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. If you have the azm, so these are three different levels. Niyyah is one level, qasd is a higher level in a sense, and some fuqaha, they make qasd part of the niyyah. So, but we're talking here about the methodology of the ulama of suluk rather than the fuqaha here in a sense. So the niyyah, they say, then the qasd, which is higher to them, then the azm. Now azm means what? You are determined. So it's just not just a niyyah and a plan. Now you have a plan or leaning, maybe the mutakallimin would say mail, leaning towards something. No, now you have azm. And that's what Allah says, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ. Once you have the azm, once you have the determination, what does Allah say? فَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. Now you're ready, so rely on Allah Ta'ala. Now move. So tawakkal on Allah, as if the ayah is telling you at the time of azm, once you have a determined will or a determined intention, then you can go onto that journey. And therefore going requires what? Will. Willpower. Willpower. Now you can sit and all you say, I want to wake up for Fajr. You make a niyyah and if you're actually niyyah and qasd and azm are authentic and genuine, you would seek reasons because you would move now. You didn't just put the address on the GPS. You're turning the vehicle, you went down, turned the vehicle on, and you're determined to take the trip. Doesn't matter. That's iradah, or will. And as you know, without will, you're not going to go anywhere because it remains wishful thinking. Because you see the qasd, the niyyah and the qasd and the azm are what? Still matter of thinking. The execution is not there yet. You have a plan of execution, but still it's theory. And that's why it remains wishful thinking. And that's why Allah Ta'ala says in the Quran Kareem, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيِّكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِيِّ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. It's not according to your wishful thinking. He's telling us, nor the wishful thinking of the people of the book. مَنْ يَعْمَلْ سُوءًا يُجْزَ بِهِ. If you actually do something that's evil, you shall be held accountable. So your wishful thinking is not going to work. Now wishful thinking is important. Huh? We always say, niyyah is important. Like a niyyah by itself is not good enough. You have niyyah, for example, to obey Allah and you fast on the days of Tashriq. You are sinful. Not only your fasting is invalid, you are actually committing a sin. It doesn't matter, but my niyyah was to please Allah. Now wait, niyyah is important, but niyyah by itself is not good enough. Why? For the hadith of Ummina, our mother Aisha radiallahu anha, hadith fi Sahih Muslim wal Bukhari. You all know the hadith, you should know that. You should memorize that hadith of Sayyida Aisha, important. Huh? من عمل عملا ليس عليه أمرنا, هذا لفظ البخاري, فهو رد. ولفظ مسلم من أحدث في أمرنا هذا ما ليس منه فهو رد. Who makes something that's not from us, and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam telling you from us, means what? From him. If something you do that's not from him, then it's rejected. Your niyyah is good, but the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did not do just the niyyah. There was that execution. You can't just say, well, I want to fast on the days of Tashriq, ya akhi. It's an act of worship. Act of worship according to your way or to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam's way? If it's according to your way, as Sayyida Aisha radiallahu anha tells you what Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, من عمل عملا ليس عليه أمرنا فهو رد. It's rejected. وهذا باب عظيم وأصل كبير. هذا أصل. It's a foundational hadith. Now, again, that's why you all know the muqtada of shahadat, Allah ilaha illallah Muhammadun Rasulullah. The realization of the shahada, of the testimony of faith, is that I want to worship you the way you want me to worship you, not the way I want to worship you. That's submission. That's submission to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Otherwise, you're making your own thing as you go. So I'm hitting on these things because these things are important in the suluk. Now, most of the times that shaitan comes to people, shaitan cannot come to people in the places of aqaid much. Why? Because it's known. Fiqh known. Where did it come from to them? These doors of going to Allah, being with Allah, Sufism / mysticism / spirituality / all that stuff. That's how shaitan comes to you. Why? No rules. No rules for those who don't have rules. Like the rules of Islam, according to the Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Sunnah is very straightforward and clear. Layluha kanahariha. Its night is just as bright and clear as its day. No ambiguity there. Those who want to go after ambiguity, they want to go in the night on purpose. So we understand each other well. The reason again, the ulama of suluk such as Imam Al-Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, such as Al-Junayd Al-Baghdadi rahimahullah ta'ala, such as واحد من أئمة السلف الحارث المحاسبي rahimahullah ta'ala, such as these أئمة, the reason, such as Shaykh Abdul Qadir Al-Jilani rahimahullah, all these أئمة, the reason they put these rules to make sure that you're not drifting away by making your own deen. All right. So therefore they said, Urid, Iradah, the verb from it, yani the four letter, Ana Urid in a sense. Right? I want. And therefore Al-Quran Al-Kareem says, call them yuridun, they want or they seek. And that's why the ulama of suluk call the one who actually have an iradah, a will to change or a will to travel to Allah Ta'ala on that spiritual journey, they called him murid. Means what? He or she has a will, not just wishful thinking, but an actual will to take the journey to Allah. That's the one who is murid. The one who doesn't have a will, not a wishful thinker. And Allah says, لَيْسَ بِأَمَانِيكُمْ وَلَا أَمَانِي أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. It's not wishful thinking here. The meaning of the ayah. Lakin, this irada or this will must be based on what? On a first level, must be based on what An-Nabi sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam came with. Therefore, when they asked Sayyidina Bayazid al-Bastami radiyallahu anhu wa rahimahu, they asked Bayazid, Ya Bayazid, وبيزيد يعني من الصالحين نحسبه كذلك. We hope and pray that he is as such. ولا نزكي على الله أحدا. And we do not praise people without knowledge. Only Allah has definitive knowledge of everyone. But that's our good thinking of him. Bayazid, they told him, Ya Bayazid, ماذا تريد? What do you will for or want? He says, أريد ألا أريد. I want not to want. As if he views, if I really want, and Allah Ta'ala has already told me what he wants, as if then there's some kind of, do I follow what I want or do I follow what he wants? I want not to want, so what he wants is sufficient. Isn't Allah's want sufficient for the slave? The mu'min, now, the one who submits to Allah Ta'ala, yes it is. Like the one who's following the shayateen, no, it's not. Of course. Notice. Lakin what does that mean, I want not to want? Yani I want what Allah Ta'ala wants. And what Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam wants. That's what I want. Yes, salam. That's nice. Wallahi ya ahibba, yani my beloved, if we have that framework, you will sleep tight and safe. Why? Because nothing is safer than the book of Allah and the authentic sunnah of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Khatamun Nabiyyin, number one. The end of messengers. Number two, Al-Quran Al-Kareem, Kitabullah, la yatihi al-batil. Batil does not come to it, you are safe. Nam, فَالْحَوَادِثُ كُلُّهُنَّ أَمَانٍ. Sleep, for anything that happens, regardless what it is, will keep you still safe. Qiyamah comes, you're safe. Dajjal comes, you're safe. Mahdi comes, you're safe. Isa comes, you're safe. Musa even comes, you're safe. Whoever comes, you're safe. Whatever comes, whatever happens, you are on a steady road, a path that's well traveled, safe. يثبت الله الذين آمنوا بالقول الثابت. Not just يثبت, بالقول الثابت, Allah says. قول الثابت, there's no variation. Firm position. There's no one time you كالريح إذا مالت مال حيث تميل. Wind comes this way, wind comes that way. Which way? إذن الإرادة or the will, and therefore الغزالي رحمه الله, يعني الإمام أبو حامد الغزالي, وحتى الحكيم الترمذي brings this narration and he calls it a hadith. طبعا it's not a hadith, not even a موضوع, not even a يعني weak hadith. It's a made up thing, forged. لكن the meaning is okay. Without attributing it to the Prophet ﷺ, as it would be sinful to do so. يعني he says, allegedly Allah says, عبدي أنت تريد وأنا أريد. My slave, you will or you want, تريد, you want, and I want. وأنا أريد. الغزالي narrated في الإحياء. يقول, he says, allegedly, that Allah Ta'ala said, وَلَنْ يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا أُرِيدُ, and nothing will happen except what I want. فَإِنْ أَطَعْتَنِي, if you obey me in what مَا أُرِيد, what I want, أَعْطَيْتُكَ مَا تُرِيد, I'll give you what you want. What do you want? What do you want from Allah Ta'ala? And everybody, that you have many lists of all these things. Brand new BMW, and your house with a sea view. I'm just telling you what I want. I'm just kidding. Etc. etc. What do you want? What do you want? You want to be happy. طب you might get this BMW and happiness is not there. You might get the Bentley and happiness is not there. Eventually, after a couple of days, you find you're not really happy. Did not bring you happiness that you thought it was. لكن Allah Ta'ala gives you الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم الأمن. Those who did iman and did not do transgressions, those are the ones whom Allah gives this sa'ada or this happiness. You want happiness? Allah gives you the happiness. He says, allegedly the hadith says, عبدي أنت تريد وأنا أريد ولن يكون إلا ما أريد. Nothing will happen except what I want. فإن أطعتني فيما أريد, if you obey me in what I want, أعطيتك ما تريد, I'll give you what you want. Whatever you want is not big for Allah Ta'ala. No problem. Whatever it is. وإن لم تطعني فيما أريد, if you disobey me in what I want, أتعبتك فيما تريد, you will struggle and you will suffer trying to get what you want. If you disobey me in what I want from you, you will suffer and struggle trying to get what you want. And at the end, وَلَنْ يَكُونُ إِلَّا مَا أُرِيدُ, still nothing will happen except what I want. So you'll run in circles and suffer and struggle and all these things, thinking you're going to get what you want, and at the end, nothing will happen except what Allah wants anyway. So, right. And that's why Al-Quran Al-Kareem puts the murideen or the murid three kinds. Allah says, مِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرِيدُ الدُّنْيَا. شوف. الآية says, منكم, amongst you, those who are yurid. What does he want? Dunya. Yani he's murid of the dunya. It doesn't matter what he looks like. It doesn't matter what he talks. The will is in the heart. His heart wants the dunya. Makes no difference. That's why Allah says yurid. He didn't tell you he's saying. Didn't tell you he's expressing. No. His core. منكم من يريد الدنيا. If he needs to sell the akhirah for the dunya, he will. Whatever it is, he wants the dunya. And then Allah says, وَمِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرِيدُ الْآخِرَةِ. And there are murids of the akhirah. So the people of the dunya are busy with the dunya. Whatever it is, but they're busy. How do I get this? How do I do this? Is all dunya. And some people are murids of the akhirah. Their want is attached to the akhirah. Their will, what they will to have, is attached to the akhirah. Jannah, kada, etc. All these things. So the first kind, man muridu dunya, and the second kind, muridul akhirah. And there's a third kind. Allah says to His Messenger, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa alayhi, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, wasbir nafsak. This ayah, you need to stop with it for days and look at it from all different ways. Al-Nabi, Allah Ta'ala Jalla Jalaluhu is commanding here. It's a command. Al-Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa azwajihi wa sallam, telling him, wasbir nafsak. Remain with those. الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ. They are always calling unto Allah. بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ. They are in calling unto their Lord in the morning and in the evening. That's why ulama al-suluk always, they tell you your word must be twice. بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ. No, that's the whole point. Your istighfar, in the beginning of the day, in the end of the day. وَاصْبِرْ نَفْسَكَ مَعَ الَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ. Allah says, بِالْغَدَاةِ وَالْعَشِيِّ. Why, Ya Allah, are they like this? Allah says, يُرِيدُونَ وَجْهَهُ. They want Allah. So, مِنْكُمْ مَنْ يُرِيدُ الدُّنْيَا. Some of you are murid of the dunya. Some of you are murids of the akhirah. They want the akhirah. And some of the people are murids of Allah. Yani they're busy with Allah, and that made them forget both the dunya and the akhirah, as both are the creation of Allah. فَشُغِلُوا بِالْخَالِقِ عَنِ الْخَلْقِ. They were busy with the Creator rather than His creation. No matter how noble the creation. Well, Jannah is very noble. May Allah give us all Jannah. Now, فالإرادة is and that's why in the ilm of suluk or tazkiya, is the person is called the murid in a sense, because there is a will, but that will is not for the dunya and not for the akhirah either. That will is to what? To travel to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not just a thinking and a qasd and a azm and a wishful thinking. It's actually a will and actualized motion. You want to change. You want to travel. And they say that the murid of Allah becomes so when he moves out of, or she moves out of the darkness of heedlessness, ghafla, absenteeism, into the light of awakeness, yani presence. When they realize they need to actually travel. Anyway, the first level of having an actual iradah, yani what do you mean? You have iradah, what does that mean? A will. So that person is actually seeking Allah Ta'ala in that spiritual journey. Number one is abandoning al-adat. Adat means habits. Abandoning habits because of accompanying ilm. So if I was to rephrase it, because I wrote it in Arabic, so accompanying ilm and abandoning habits. Two things that are very important. Why do they say al-khuruju anil adat, that you have to exit your habits? If you don't change your habits, you haven't started. If you think you're gonna go and travel the way you were, well, obviously you haven't gotten anywhere where you are. And if you keep like that, you're not going, you ain't going anywhere either. Like, what's the point? The point is you change your habits in accordance to what? In accordance to the company of ilm. In accordance to the company of ilm. What do you mean you have the suhba of the ilm? Suhbatul ilm. Now, you may have company, yani you take ilm as your friend and companion. What does that mean? And you may have company of other people, X, Y, Z are your friends. Very nice. Now, I'm not saying drop your friends, but ilm has to be your companion. Literally. So you accompany ilm, and once you accompany ilm, when you have a good companion, you learn from them, don't you? Oh, of course you do. My uncle Sayyid Sa'id rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh used to always say in his teaching, as-sahib sahib. As-sahib sahib. Sahib means someone who pulls you. Sahib is the companion. Sahib, he pulls you. Huh? That's why when you want to ask, the Arab poet says, لا تسأل عن المرء وسل عن خليله. If you want to ask about someone, don't ask about him. Ask about his friends. You know, when the people he's hanging around with, that's how he is. Don't worry about what he tells you. This is the meaning of hadith of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. The hadith al-sahih, you all know hadith. Sahib al-su, the good companion and the bad companion. One is like the one who sells perfume, ba'i' al-misk, and the one is like nafiq al-kiyar. The other one is the blacksmith. Hadith al-sahih, so you know. So that's why, be careful. That's why among the rules of the ulama of Tazkiya is what? قال ابن عطاء الله رحمه الله ورضي عنه. Sayyid Ahmad ibn Ata'illah al-Secondary in his hikam mentioned قال لا تصحبن من لا ينهضك حاله ويدلك على الله مقاله. Do not accompany that person whose hal does not elevate you and whose words do not lead you to Allah. See, he did not say lead you to the Jannah or to the Akhirah or to the Dunya. Wrong. يدلك على الله. He did not say يدلك على الآخرة. لا يدلك على الآخرة, he said يتعبك. The one who tells you how to gain the Akhirah will make you struggle alone, because how can you get the Akhirah? Even if you work day and night and you fast every day and you do dhikr 24/7, you are not eligible by your deeds only to get Jannah. Sahih or not? Hadith Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, right? I need these things to be in your minds. Students of knowledge, right? What does that mean? Hadith Sayyidina Anas fi Sahih Muslim. يقول فيه النبي صلى الله تعالى عليه وآله لن يدخل أحدكم عمله الجنة. None of your deeds will make you enter Jannah. So who tells you, who points you to the Akhirah in that specific sense, then has told you what? You're going to have to struggle so much, and even then you're not going to make it. قالوا ولا أنت يا رسول الله. الصحابة رضي الله عنهم أجمعين said, not even you يا رسول الله. He says, not even me, except that Allah has already granted me His mercy. So how do you get to the Jannah? By the mercy of Allah Ta'ala. So therefore he says, يدلك على الله. He points you towards Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So therefore, the sign of accompanying knowledge. Now you need to start accompanying knowledge. Al-ilm. What do I mean by ilm? What's ilm? أيوة العلم ما قال الله وقال رسوله هذا علم. العلم علم is that which Allah said and His Messenger صلى الله تعالى عليه وآله وسلم said. هذا علم. العلم ما قال الله ما قال رسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه وعلى آله. How knowledgeable are you is how knowledgeable are you in the depth and breadth of the texts of the Quran and Sunnah. Now this accompanying ilm means by definition what? خروج عن العادات, abandoning your old habits. There is no way you can be truly accompanying knowledge. Now what do you want? You want to have a will to travel to Allah Ta'ala, to go to Allah Ta'ala's pleasure. How do you go to Allah Ta'ala's pleasure? You have to accompany ilm, because without ilm you can't get there. Don't ever think that a jahil can be a wali of Allah. Never. Let me repeat it again. I know you may hear stories and all these things. A jahil can never be a wali of Allah. A jahil can never be a wali of Allah Ta'ala. Allah said that in His Quran. إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهَ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاء. Those who know Allah. And if Allah wanted to make a jahil a wali, He would teach him. If Allah likes a jahil and He wants to make him a wali overnight, just like, I'm not saying Al-Khidr is like that, but He would teach him from Him without anything, just like Allah taught Al-Khidr alayhi salam. وَآتَيْنَاهُ مِن لَدُنَّا عِلْمًا. We taught him. We have to understand that. Otherwise, you'll have, every couple of days you have different walaya. أيوة, هذه ولاية شياطين. هذه ولاية of shaitan. Not the walaya of Rahman. Because the walaya of Rahman has to be on the sunnah of Sayyidul Anam sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi. Abadan, no other way. No shortcuts here. No, the way of the Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa azwajihi wa sallam. Abadan, nothing else. The reason I'm saying that again is so we understand. If Allah wants to make a jahil person a wali, He would teach him overnight. That person would wake up, knows everything that he needs to know. Done? Done. Have we seen that? I have seen that many times. Yeah, not literally necessarily. I've seen it literally with one person, but I've seen it in the books. Many of these people who were totally unlettered, could not read or write, Allah Ta'ala gave them and they became amongst the highest of scholars. Lakin, verifiable knowledge now. Measured. Not just talks here and there. La, la, la. What do I mean by ilm? Verifiable knowledge of what? What's knowledge? علم بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Not XYZ said, this knowledge may or may not. لكن the knowledge we're talking about is that which Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam came with. And he sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam can, as Allah described him, harisun alaykum. Harisun alaykum means what? What does harisun alaykum mean? He is more, your interest is at his heart. Your best interest is at his heart. Don't let anyone tell you that someone else is more harisun alaykum than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That someone else cares about how you get to Allah more than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No one is more caring about how you get to Allah Ta'ala more than Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's why khayrul hadi hadi Muhammad. Again, so we understand the reason for that is because shayateen come. A lot of shayateen come this way. Because this way you make up whatever you want, Maulana, as you go on. People make up new things and new deens altogether. New deen, totally. Now, لكن الإنسان العالم, the person who is understanding and the person who is balanced and the person who realizes, he takes from the wahi. And the wahi is that which Allah Ta'ala said to His Messenger, and that which Sayyidina Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said to the Sahaba. That's wahi. In huwa illa wahyun yuha. Lakin this is wahi rahmani, there is wahi of the shayateen. Shayateen come also to their awliya. Don't think the shayateen don't have awliya. لا, shayateen have awliya. ذلك الشيطان يخوف أولياء. Shaitan, he tells his awliya. Quran Kareem affirms awliya shaitan. So we understand each other again. Alright. So, now the first level of Iradah, if you really have a will to go and travel that journey to Allah Ta'ala and attain His pleasure, is what? First, you accompany knowledge. A sign of you accompanying knowledge, which means that Quran and Sunnah, you start what? Being influenced by that knowledge. And how do you become influenced by that knowledge? You drop your formed habits that you thought you knew to that which Allah or His Messenger told you how you should be. Now, I'm not saying overnight, because if you can practice all these things overnight, you are a wali overnight. Lakin, based on your capacity. Number two, also for the beginners, is that they accompany the salikeen, they accompany those who are on the journey to Allah Ta'ala. There are people in maqam of ibadah all the time. They are in ibadah, they do their ibadah, they go. And there are people who actively are seeking the pleasure of Allah Ta'ala. He's not just performing the ibadah, but he's trying to seek Allah's pleasure everywhere. He tries to go and see what pleases Allah, and he wants to be there. They're actively seeking the presence of Allah Ta'ala. They're actively trying to actually be. And when they do their istighfar, or they do their adhkar, subhanallah, or alhamdulillah, or la ilaha illallah, or Allahu Akbar, or they read the Quran, they don't do these things for barakah purposes. They are actually trying to draw near to Allah consciously. Salikeen. There is difference between abid and salik. One who's doing ibadah khair. Lakin الصادقين السالكين. That's why Allah Ta'ala says, يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. Have taqwa of Allah and be with those sadiqeen. And the ulama of suluk, they say those sadiqeen are those who are salikeen. They're actually taking the journey to Allah Ta'ala. They're not just pleased with where they are, and they're doing their ritual worship, and they do all their istighfar, adhkar, salawat, all these things. Lakin they're there. You need those people who have the himma of travel. Himma means the motivation and the devotion. Himma. And today, you need a himma, and with a sincere himma, you revive the ummah. If there is a sincere himma. Like if there is no himma, then there is nothing. So therefore, then one is attached to the anfas. Anfas means the plural of nafas. Nafas means the breath of the salikeen. Why? You're accompanying those who are walking, even if they trip. You have to trip on the way. Otherwise, you're not a nabi. You fall, you get up, you move again, but you're attached to their breath in a sense. That means what? That's how close you are to them. That's how close you are to them. With the ulama of suluk, they have something with this nafas business, or the breath business. They say even the path to Allah is a nafas, in a sense, it's the breath. It's not everyone's breath is like that, so you're attached to that. You don't want to be with someone who's in one maqam, in one rank. You want to be with those who are moving from one rank to the other. You always get these people, for example, now he or she starts doing istighfar every day. Before they never did. and actually not lip service. They changed from lip service istighfar to actually doing istighfar properly. Now, something happens, for example, difficulties befall them. And I say, what happened? What's wrong? Why is this happening to me? You always want to be in first grade? Okay, now you always want to live all your life with the tests of the first grade. Habibi, once you finished first grade test, you move to the second grade. Now there's new material and slightly difficult, more difficult tests, huh? I mean, unless you want to always remain in first grade, you're not moving. A salik is the seeker of Allah, is the one who moves, and moving means you're going to know more, you're going to do more, and you have to also pass more difficult tests. That's as simple as that. Are they passable? Absolutely. You just have to persevere. But if you're going to cry out the first time you see the test, you says, no, the test I had before was much easier. What's happening to me? But you think you want to live 50, 60, 70, 80 years with first grade tests all the time? Ajib. So we understand. Now, and therefore, Boumediene Talmusani, he's from Talmusan in Algeria. أنت من وين؟ العاصمة. جنب تلمسان. وين وهران؟ طيب. سيدي بومدين رحمه الله ورضي عنه هو من أكابر الصالحين. He is the Shaykh of محي الدين العربي. Sidi Boumediene has this thing, he says in it, that's when you get old. يا طالبا من لذاذات الدنا وطرا. He said actually that Sidi Boumediene says ما لذة العيش إلا صحبة الفقراء هم السلاطين والسادات والأمراء. But لكن Sidi محي الدين, he actually adds things. يا طالبا من لذاذات الدنا وطرا إذا أردت جميع الخير فيك يرى. المهم, it's not in my mind right now. Sorry, my mind is clogged up with lots of things. Something he said, فاسمع الخبر ما لذة العيش إلا صحبة الفقراء. إذا أردت جميع الخير فيك يرى. نعم. So he says يا طالبا من لذاذات الدنيا وطرا. Those who seek the real sweetness and the real like raw honey in life. He says إذا أردت جميع الخير فيك يرى. If you want to see all the good in you that coming out and comes out, listen to what I'm saying. واسمع الخبر. Listen to what I'm telling you. ما لذة العيش إلا صحبة الفقراء. The real sweetness of life is in the company of the people who know and they're walking to Allah Ta'ala. That's the real sweetness of life. In the company of those who are going to Allah, they're traveling to Allah Ta'ala. Despite the difficulties and the test. He says, ما لذة العيش هم السلاطين والسادات والأمراء. They are the real sultan and the real sadat and the real princes. You like to go and meet a sultan, or you like to go and meet a sadat, and you like to meet princes. Those are the ones, those who are faqir and needy of Allah Ta'ala, and they are in that realization, and they're living in that realization, and they're moving and journeying to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. فَاصْحَبْهُمْ وَتَأَدَّبْ فِي مَجَالِسِهِمْ وَخَلِّ حَظَّكَ مَهْمَا قَدَّمُوكَ وَرَى. This is what Sidi Boumediene, but then the addition of Shaykh Muhyiddin, he says, قوم رضوا بيسير من ملابسهم والقوت لا تخطر الدنيا بهاجسهم صدورهم خاليات من وساوسهم فاصحبهم وتأدب في مجالسهم وخلي حظك مهما قدموك وراء. He says, قوم رضوا بيسير, those people I'm telling you about that you want to accompany, يعني we're talking what? The first level is what? You accompany the ilm, and then the ilm would lead you to accompany those who have a realization of that ilm and they're traveling to Allah. As-salikin, they're traveling to Allah. Who are they? He says, قوم رضوا بيسير. This is the delicacy, or this is the sweetness in life. Other than that, you can live 1,000 hours with people, but you live 5 minutes with the people of Allah, and in those 5 minutes they raise you a million light years closer to Allah, metaphorically speaking. Then the light years are not applicable to the Creator. 100 years you lived as if you can put it all together and you accumulated little things. 5 minutes with the people of Allah may equal 1,000 years. That's why Shaykh Muhyiddin, he says قوم رضوا بيسير من ملابسهم. Those people, they accept the simple things. والقوت, simple clothing, simple food, simple things. لا تخطر الدنيا بهاجسهم. Their hajis, their thinking is not the dunya. They're not منكم من يريد الدنيا. That's not where they fall. And they're not even منكم من يريد الآخرة. Those are يريدون وجهه. They want Allah Ta'ala. لا تخطر الدنيا بهاجسهم. صدورهم, he says, their hearts خاليات من وساوسهم. Shaitan does not come close to them. فاصحبهم. Those people need to accompany them. Have their suhbah. But wait, he says, وتأدب في مجالسهم. These people, you have to have adab with their majalis. Adab. لأنه these people, if they are the actual heirs of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, even if partially, you have to have adab. He says, وتأدب. And that's why they said, they said, if you are with the fuqaha, you gotta watch your tongue. And the fuqaha, if you say the wrong thing, they got you. You have to watch what you say before the fuqaha. You gotta watch your tongue. Make sure you're saying the right thing. And they said, if you are with the arifin, you are with the awliya, you have to watch your heart. Not just your tongue. And even your thoughts, once you generate a thought, it comes out. It's already in the universe. Khair, I don't want to go into that, like in the point, you have that. طبعا, now we said accompanying ilm, which should lead you to the people of ilm. Then, you have to have the truthfulness in your qasd, that you're not trying to go on the path for Allah Ta'ala, so you please yourself, or you find superiority over the rest of His creation. You're not going anywhere. You're not moving anywhere. Because ar-riya, or showing off, is shirk. Showing off is shirk khafi, concealed shirk. And Allah does not accept shirk. If you learn the ilm, or you do the adhkar, or you put some sunnahs, or you adopt some sunnahs, or you let knowledge in the Quran Sunnah conform you to it for the sake of showing other people, then you are shooting yourself not in the foot, in the head. Because Allah Ta'ala said in Hadith Sahih, Hadith Qudsi, أَنَا أَغْنَى الْأَغْنِيَاءِ عَنِ الشِّرْكِ. I am not in need of shirk. I don't accept anything with shirk, the meaning of the hadith. Alright. And the last thing for the beginner, we're still talking about the beginner who wants to actually have that will to want, is again to really accompany that ilm, and that ilm becomes more important of a companion than any other companion. Then that person is called someone who has irada or murid. Right. For the middle, let's go quickly. For the middle seeker of Allah Ta'ala, now remember, the beginner had the company of ilm, right? Al-ilm gives you what? What's the fruit of ilm? Huh? Yeah, but what's the fruit of ilm? Ilm is book and sunnah. What's the fruit of that? What do you do of ilm? Well, ilm is for itself? Amal. Ilm is for amal. Because your amal is not, Hadith Sayyidah Aisha again, your amal is not right unless your ilm is right. Right? Okay? So we understand that. You have the ilm for what? Amal. So now you accompanied ilm and you did amal. You accompanied the salihin, you accompanied the ulama, you have amal now. You're doing amal, you're doing ibadah, everything is good. What does amal give you? If you have a good amal, a good deed, you did something good and closer to Allah. You just prayed Maghrib and you did it well, and that amal was pure for His sake. What does that amal give you? What does it generate within you? Hal, spiritual state. Every time you do amal that is pure and perfect or close to perfection, it will generate a hal, a spiritual state. Another, what does that mean? It will elevate you spiritually, definitively. Definitively. Why do you think Allah says, wasjud waqtarib? Why? What is qurb? Qurb is what? Yani qurb is physical closeness to Allah? No. Qurb is a spiritual closeness. What does that mean? Spiritual elevation. What do we call that in Arabic? Hal. Hal. A good and pure deed based on the ilm. I don't want to define ilm again. That means the amal is also according to the ilm. Will definitively now generate what? Hal. That's now the fruit of a good amal based on a good ilm. Very nice. And that hal, eventually you'll be able to distinguish it. It's a spiritual illumination coming to the heart. Huh? Now you learn, what does that mean? You say, I don't understand. Now, many of you may understand. Some may say, what does that mean? Okay, you believe that Allah Ta'ala said, wasjud waqtarib. Make sujood and come close. You believe that. Theoretically, it's in your mind, you have no problem. That's intellectually. The hukum of your intellect, ahkam of your intellect is if you do sujood, you get close. Hal will have a different state. It'll be not ahkam, it will be afham. You will understand in your heart how doing sujood, right, will actually make you closer to Allah. It's the experiencing Iman rather than believing in the articles of Iman theoretically. Hal. So now it changes you from taqleed or imitation and believing in the text to living the text. Totally different level. Hal. And now for the people who, so you move, in other words, what I'm trying to say, it moves you from the theoretical Iman to the experiential Iman. That's the point. Otherwise, either your ilm is incorrect or your amal is incorrect. It's not consistent with the book and the sunnah. So you have to make sure. And that's, what does that mean now for these people? What am I talking about, the hal? Now you accompanied the ilm with generated amal, with generated the hal, right? Now you accompany your hal. Because already the amal is done, the ilm is done, you already have it, and the amal is done. Now you accompany that hal. Because now you realize what the end of ilm is, which is amal, and you realize what the fruit of amal is, which is hal. In other words, it gives you a sign. I'm not saying definitive. Definitive is only Allah's knowledge. But it gives you a sign that your deed may have possibly been accepted, hence it generated a hal. Why do you think Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tells you, or Allah Ta'ala tells you in the Quran Kareem, Inna salata tanha anil fahsha'i wal munkar. Salah will prohibit you or will prevent you from doing fahsha and munkar. What that means is, if you're doing salah, it's not preventing you from fahsha and munkar. What's the problem? Either your ilm in the salah is not right, or your amal of the salah is not right. There's no other way. Alright. So now you judge based on the hal, so you accompany the hal, and the hal changes. Better, less, weaker, etc., etc. The people of hal. And then, for the middle also, now you move from being burdened, notice, because you have hal. So you move from being burdened by ibadah to being what? Relieved by ibadah. Ibadah is a burden first. Yeah, I need to get it, I need to do it, I need to do it, I need to do it. You move from then, because there's hal. Hal will not only make you feel better, it will lighten you. Alam nashrah laka sadrak. What happened after that? We have lessened that burden. It will no longer be a burden. It'll be what? It'll be like the Prophet ﷺ used to say to Bilal, Arihna biha, not arihna minha, arihna biha. Ya Bilal, call the salah so we can enter our comfort zone. So now, before you want to get it out of the way, now where you look for it, because that hal is elevating you. And it's purifying you. And we talked about we don't want to talk about the things that we were talking about last year. From last year until now, we've been talking about this. Yani the purification of your niyyah, the purification of all these things, right? Because you need to drop the weights. The travel to Allah is between, let me put, what do you call these two little things? Sorry about that. What do you call these things? Quotation, yeah. The travel to Allah in quotation, light travel. You can say light in meaning of weightless, or light in meaning of light. Yani nurani travel. Soul travel. And therefore, the less weight, that means what I'm trying to say, light travel, it means you cannot travel with heavy burdens in you. Whatever heavy burdens. Especially if these heavy burdens are shackles that are shackling you, envy, hate, all these things, ghiba, namima, kada, all these things. Now you're not moving, you cannot even move. You gotta go to almost a state of weightlessness. And once you reach the state of weightlessness, what can you do? You just don't need to do anything. You just put your tip of the feet on the ground, you start flying. That's how it works. Without that, you can't go anywhere. So you move now to actually enjoying the ibadah and looking forward, because it's elevating you, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is making you experience this iman. ذَاقَ طَعْمَ الْإِيمَانِ. Hadith al-Sahih, right? Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, ذَاقَ طَعْمَ الْإِيمَانِ. You will find the sweetness of Iman, etc., etc., etc. You know the hadith. And also for the middle is you realize the path for you will be between two things, qabd and bast. Qabd means contracting, bast means relaxing, in the Arabic language in general. So that path will be between qabd and bast. How so? You'll fluctuate. Sometimes you'll be denied and sometimes you'll be granted. Sometimes you'll be stripped away from things and sometimes you'll be decorated with things. Well, that's how it works. Usually al-qabd comes from ilm. Contracts, make sure you're not going crazy. And the bast, the relaxing, comes from ma'rifah, the realization of that ilm. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens for you, but still wants to keep you in check with the ilm, so you don't go crazy. And the last thing here for the advanced, may Allah ta'ala make us among them, is obviously these people now their will is refined, so therefore they are in the presence. So they moved all the way, they traveled, and they are in that presence. They realize that Allah Ta'ala is watching them, and they are watching that Allah is watching them. But then the ulama of suluk, they say, this is where the fine-tuning of adab is without teaching of adab. How so? Once you realize, once you are at that level, you've refined your first and middle way for beginners and middle, you got there, you now, the mere actual shuhud, yani the mere witnessing that you are being witnessed, refines your etiquette with Allah Ta'ala. Because the journey to Allah Ta'ala starts with adab and ends with adab. With Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. It starts with etiquette with Him, fine adab, and it ends with fine adab with Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it gets refined once you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once you get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that istiqamah, that being steadfast on the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it refines you. So basically, these are the three stages in this rank of will, or for the actual one who has iradah, or who wants, or he or she who is called a murid, those who yuriduna, those who wants to seek actually, or wants to travel that journey. They've got to have these things then in their spiritual outlook, in a sense, to travel that path. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among them. Wa sallallahu ta'ala wa sallam ala sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. If there's a question, go ahead.